Only a few hours ago, the Love and Hip Hop Atlanta universe was rocked by the release of never-before-seen video of Carly Red on a secret dinner date. Admirers are in disbelief when the footage captures Carly exiting a sleek black SUV under fading streetlights with her arm encircling an unidentified man. Emotions were running high when Kirk, who was clearly taken by surprise, took to social media with a heated live stream, demanding answers and accusing Carly of treachery. The family was split when rumors of a covert meeting circulated. Some supported Carly, arguing that she had a right to privacy, while others sided with Kirk, saying that this was evidence of the deceit at the core of their relationship. There are now rumors that there are off-camera arguments, heated altercations backstage, and a disastrously failed attempt at a cover-up. Why had Kirk gone so far? Who is the man who Carly is holding? Will the couple be permanently split up by this widely shared scandal? We're going to delve deeply into the drama that no one anticipated tonight, and it's only just getting started, so stay tuned. Carly Red and her unidentified partner entered the exclusive ambience of a high-end rooftop as the night became darker over Atlanta's cityscape. Lounge. The tension between them was what ignited the scene, even while the city lights shimmered below. The clinking of crystal glasses was interspersed with murmurs of whispered conversation. Normally so familiar to fans, Carly's chuckle suddenly had a hint of doubt, as if she could foresee the tempest her actions were about to unleash. Kirk, back at home, was looking through his phone in shock. Friends had sent him desperate links to the recently leaked video. "Did you notice this?" One text message was read. "What's going on with Carly and another man?" Kirk's heart pounded. He played the video again, showing Carly bending in close. The stranger's face was hidden by shadows as her hand rested on his arm. He felt an ice flame of betrayal burn within of him as his jaw tightened and emotions ran high. Carly tried to concentrate on the present while in the lounge. She quietly told her date, "I needed a break. Everyone's eyes are on us all the time." The stranger nodded, his calm glance showing empathy. "You deserve to be at liberty," he answered. However, a knot of guilt knotted in Carly's breast even as she sought comfort. She pictured Kirk's response, the embarrassment she would face in public, and the suffering she could be causing her child's father. She ignored the thought and took a sip of her wine, hoping that the night would provide a moment's relief. The rooftop was illuminated by a paparazzo's flash at that precise moment. There was silence in the lounge. Carly froze when she saw the red light from the camera. "We must leave," she muttered quickly. However, prior to their departure, there was a flash burst. The media circus had started. Images of Carly entering the elevator with her shoulders hunched were already appearing on gossip websites. Kirk's live stream would be broadcast in just a few minutes. It started with the live stream back at Kirk's penthouse. Kirk's eyes were wild and his face was pallid as he appeared on film. "You all see this, don't you?" His voice cracked as he demanded. "My woman was captured on camera on a covered date. Tell me why I..." Fans commented, "Don't feel like a fool right now." "Kirk, what happened?" "What's going on, Carly?" The discussion quickly scrolled. Kirk's feelings poured forth. "How can she do this to me when I gave her everything, love, support, and respect?" The world watched as the family was split apart while tears glistened in his eyes. Carly and her friend ran toward a beautiful black SUV in the lounge's garage. The man looked at her worriedly and whispered softly, "I'm sorry you're caught in this." Carly nodded while pressing her lips together in an established line. She said, "It wasn't supposed to leak." Together, they slid into the back seat as the doors clicked shut, saying, "I never wanted this." However, there would be no way out of the commotion his anger would cause. The tension had been building for hours. Reports of Carly's backstage rumors of restlessness developed during the filming of season 13. According to sources, she had been feeling constrained by the ongoing scrutiny. According to one crew member, she felt like she couldn't breathe. Every action she took was scrutinized. The notion of a covered date initially surfaced as ways to regain her independence, a little detachment from reality. She had no idea that independence would come at a far higher price than she had anticipated. Kirk, meanwhile, had been managing his own demands. He was exhausted from managing his business endeavors, co-parenting duties, and upholding his social media persona. Fans had seen him support Carly through personal failures and embrace her musical endeavors. However, he has also survived his own scandals like accusations of adultery and arguments with relatives. At times, the people supported him, and at other times, they chastised him for what they saw as his hypocrisy. Even so, Kirk thought their relationship was unbreakable, until now. A social media fire was started by the released video. Fans analyzed each frame, the specific wine glass she was holding in her hand, the luxury boots that were visible beneath the table, and Carly's handbag. Others asserted that her companion was a successful businessman, while others conjectured that he was another industry insider. A well-known gossip website featured a side-by-side comparison of Carly's latest red carpet appearance with the clothes she wore in the video, supporting premeditation ideas. One reply said she planned this. Another user backed her, saying, "She deserves a life outside of this show. No way she just bumped into him." Carly went to her private account and read the comments, which she hardly ever bothered to read. Her heart was racing. She clenched her phone, tempted by one message that attracted her attention. "You better pray Kirk forgives you," to reply, but held back. Instead, she viewed Kirk's most recent stories by tapping on his name. When his meltdown came to an end, his face shone blue. Behind him, the words "exposed" and "betrayal" flashed. As he tweeted the enigmatic words, "Trust is earned," Kirk's emotions were running high. Viewers posted screenshots of the lines, viewing them as final, and said, "Mine is gone." Carly's companion grasped her hand tenderly in the VIP area of the lounge. He said, "We need to figure out what's next." Carly let out a deep exhale. "I understand," she said, her voice almost audible above a whisper, "but I have to confront Kirk first. This cannot be hidden." Her choice signaled the start of a public dispute, but it was just the start of a much more catastrophic disclosure. Online support for Kirk grew as morning drew near. If Carly reappeared without a reason, several threatened to boycott the show. Her right to privacy was used by others to support her. The comment sections were full of contentious discussions. Celebrity bloggers offered their opinions, analyzing the effects on family relationships and possible negative effects on season ratings. One headline declared, "This is the scandal of the year." The network kept a careful eye on things. Each crisis increased audience. But at what price? Carly's date night wasn't the first time her confidence had been betrayed, according to those close to her. There were rumors of late-night phone conversations and private text messages going on behind the cameras. They were overly cautious, an insider claimed. However, they failed to account for the media's ravenous appetite for drama. In fact, photographers waiting for the ideal scandal shot had been watching every secret meeting. Fans were transfixed to their screens when Kirk lost it on camera, displaying a visceral display of sadness and wrath. "Please don't hate me. I never wanted to hurt you," Carly begged Kirk in a private text exchange. "You already did," Kirk replied icily. "Actions speak louder than words." The rift was made of anguish and pixels. The once unifying family pictures now appeared to be staged seconds before a storm. With her mascara smudged, Carly sat by herself in her dressing room, practicing her line, "I was seeking space, not betrayal." However, the editing room had other ideas. The producers would turn her remarks into a cliffhanger for the next week's broadcast. Every network upgrade was watched with interest by fans. A late-night after-show panel debated the morality of invasions of privacy versus Carly's responsibility. According to one commenter, "She's a public figure." The argument erupted, reflecting the audience's varied opinions. One person retorted, "Even celebrities deserve a private life." She knew the cameras would follow. Meanwhile, Kirk got ready to respond formally with an Instagram live that night that promised an honest conversation. Carly posted a brief video apology right before Kirk went live. She addressed the audience directly, her cheeks glistening with tears. "I apologize for whatever hurt I may have caused. I had no intention of betraying anyone. My family is more important to me. More than anything." In a matter of hours, the video received millions of views. While skeptics called it a premeditated move, netizens applauded her vulnerability. Under layers of drama and strategy, the truth remained hidden. It was the night of Kirk's performance. With his hoodie drawn tight around his face, he sat in a single light. As the conversation burst with excitement, the tension was evident. Is he going to pardon her? Is this where their narrative ends? Kirk took a deep breath. "I'm going to be honest with you tonight," he started. "I loved her with all of my heart, but trust and honesty are crucial." I need answers. As everyone held their breath, the screen went black, leaving viewers wanting more of this developing story and desperate for a resolution. The audience was left in such suspense that they could stab themselves with a knife as Kirk's Instagram live stream went black. Comments erupted seconds later. What will he say next? He's not done yet, and this is brutal. The sudden conclusion only strengthened rumors that Kirk was planning a show, using every opportunity to get the most impact. However, his pulse beat more quickly behind the scenes than his meticulously constructed public image indicated. Producers and editors fumbled in a darkened production office at the television studios. The footage that was leaked and the broadcast that followed had sent. Ratings were skyrocketing, but now they had to decide whether to broadcast Kirk's entire live session uncensored. As everyone fought for control of the story, the tension reflected the on-screen drama. One producer said, "We have to show the raw emotion. Viewers crave authenticity." Another producer retorted, "We risk alienating his fans if it looks like we're exploiting his pain." In the meantime, the smell of half-eaten takeaway permeated the air as Carly Red sat in her dressing trailer. She had red eyes from crying and the fluorescent lights in the editing room. She played back the video of her apologies. Displayed, each word burned into her mind. She had apologized for the hurt she had caused. "I value my family more than anything," she said, but deep down she wondered if saying, "I'm sorry," meant anything when trust was broken. Knowing that the filming the following day would be extremely stressful, she massaged her temples. Fan factions appeared almost immediately on social media. Team Carly supporters reacted with gifs of her after Team Kirk members shared memes of him staying firm and denounced her as a traitor and drama queen, reflecting on previous episodes, claiming she was entitled to some breathing room. Polls were started by fan accounts asking if Kirk should pardon Carly. Will they continue to be together? The hourly percentage flips represented the overall mood fluctuations of a digital audience that was interested in every development. When Carly arrived at the soundstage the following morning, the reunion specials cameras were already in motion. She attempted to conceal the weariness engraved on her face by donning large sunglasses and a sweater pulled down. Face. Cast members gave her stern looks and empathetic gestures as she passed the green room. "We've all been caught in the crossfire," others murmured in consolation, while others kept their heads down and said nothing. Allegiances were changing like sand, and the family was split. Kirk showed up a few minutes later, accompanied by a security guard and his manager. His well-groomed hair, clean-shaven face, and designer hoodie gave off the impression that he was tranquil, but his eyes showed the chaos inside. As they walked past each other in the corridor, he gave Carly a short nod. No words were spoken, but there was an unspoken conflict simmering in that fleeting glance. As directors got ready to record every unfiltered emotion, production assistants rushed them to their individual staging areas. As if to welcome a unified audience, the reunion taping opened with a prearranged cheer song and applause. However, the mood was anything from joyous. Kirk sat down across from Carly, who was seated with her elbows on a soft couch. knees gazing at her hands clenched together. The host tried to strike up a conversation by saying, "It's been an eventful week, you two." The badly delivered words were overshadowed by the weight of unresolved anguish. Scrolling through live chat posts are people saying things like "awkward," "this is painful to watch," and "tell us the truth." Carly was the first to break the silence. "I want everyone to know that I never intended to hurt Kirk," she said in a trembling voice. "I did what I believe was necessary for my recovery. However, the host leaned forward and said, "Kirk, what's your response? I understand how it looks, and I regret the pain I've caused." Kirk's jaw tightened. He took a long breath and let it out as though he was deflating. "Words are just words, but I appreciate her apology. Over time, trust is developed. I'm not sure whether rebuilding is possible right now." The camera stayed on Carly's face, showing her eyes welling and chin trembling, before cutting to Kirk to see his response. Their emotional gap was widened by the split screen. The mood abruptly changed. Exclusive behind-the-scenes video from earlier that week was shown on a pre-recorded program. Viewers spotted Carly backstage with a troubled expression. On her face when her date's name was muttered on a phone conversation. Then a video shows Kirk raising his voice and addressing a crew member about privacy concerns. The difference between personal hardship and it was a striking public show. As cameras caught private moments they were never supposed to see, viewers gasped. The reunion stage resembled a battlefield more than a place of healing. Following the lengthy portion, the host took a commercial break. Kirk was discreetly given a message by his aide. His eyes narrowed as he looked down. Carly's stance was tense as she observed him from the other side of the set. The studio audience shifted uneasily, whispering, "Getting up." With everyone waiting for the next blow, the once glamorous stage now looked like a courthouse. Social internet was buzzing with questions such, "Is he going to walk off? Is Carly going to have a breakdown?" Kirk sprang up suddenly as filming started up again, causing his chair to scrape the ground. With a heavy voice, he said, "I can't do this." Cameras followed him around as he bounded offstage. The set reverberated with Carly's gasp. The host attempted to break the ice by saying, "Kirk, please," but he had left, leaving a terrible silence that echoed. The reunion part ended abruptly as the team frantically repositioned the cameras. In response to Kirk's departure, the network revealed a special follow-up program that will feature more unreleased video and exclusive interviews. Rumors circulated in the aftermath that Kirk's storm-off was planned to increase viewership. According to insiders, he had communicated with filmmakers and consented to embellish his emotional breakdown. Others said that after years of strain, this was a real breaking point. In any case, the distinction between performance and actuality became hazy. Fans argued over whether any of this was real. Or are they merely tricking us? The controversy evolved into a critique of reality TV itself. Carly withdrew to a friend's house in Midtown while the fallout from the reunion took over the news. "I feel like I'm suffocating under this scrutiny," she confided in her confidant. Her friend gripped her hand and said, "You need. Take a break. Stepping back is the only way to heal." Carly nodded, tears streaming down her face. She understood that leaving the set wouldn't make the controversy go away. Gossip rags and social media would be after her nonstop. Kirk, meanwhile, continued to be in a state of uncertainty. He read every remark that flooded his Instagram account, divided between pride and regret. "We miss you, come back, and don't let her win." One evening, he shared the uncertainty in his one line, "Sometimes letting go is the hardest choice," drove fans into a frenzy as they tried to figure out if he was saying goodbye or that a new beginning was imminent. The creators unveiled a surprise video for the second episode of this story, titled "Carly and Kirk Face the Ultimate Test." The teaser footage hinted at a therapy session, family interventions, and a dramatic confrontation at an sophisticated ballroom. The audience was left wondering if Kirk would make a comeback. Can Carly regain his confidence, Or has their relationship been ruined beyond repair? Audiences would be riveted to their screens, eagerly anticipating the next episode of this unfolding reality drama, thanks to the promise of more revelations. Anticipation for the therapy session that was promised in the impending special grew as the night of the surprise trailer's release came to an end. As Carly and Kirk entered a comfortable therapy office with soft-colored walls, cameras rolled, soft chairs and earthy hues. Dr. Nelson, the therapist, gave them a kind nod of greeting. She started by saying, "Thank you both for coming." Carly's hands trembled as she sat next to her, saying, "This is a safe space to explore your feelings." Kirk was sitting on the couch with his jaw gritted and his arms crossed in a rigid position, speculating about whether this session would reveal more betrayals or open the door to reconciliation. Viewers watched the live conversation. Dr. Nelson asked Carly to explain why she had chosen to go on the covered date. "I felt trapped under the spotlight, unable to breathe," she said, her voice trembling. Kirk's eyes darkened as he said, "I thought a moment of normalcy might remind me who I was outside of this relationship." "You chose secrecy over honesty," he interrupted in a quiet voice. Kirk was gently guided by the therapist to voice his pain. "I felt blindsided, humiliated that you chose him over me. Trust is everything to me." His eyes filled with tears, and Carly's fingers touched Kirk's palm. As though there was a glimmer of optimism amid the anxiety, the camera lingered on that contact. The video ended with a heartbreaking montage showing Carly returning to the rooftop lounge. By herself, taking off her heels and sobbing into her phone following the emotional breakthrough. Breathless, she phoned Kirk's number. The call went to voicemail with the words, "Please pick up." Fans gasped at her unadulterated emotion as she muttered, "I'm sorry," and then a text message read, "If you ever love me, talk to me." Saying that compared to a manufactured reunion, this felt more real. The storm of emotions on show stood in stark contrast to the clinical stillness of the treatment room. After then, the cameras moved to Kirk's parents' estate for a sumptuous family intervention. Kirk's father, Curtis, was stern but empathetic. His older brother, Devin, had his arms folded, and Kirk's mother, Valerie, had her face creased with worry as the entire Frost family assembled in a large living room. Carly was in front of them, head bent. Valerie grasped her hand. "We brought Kirk up to keep his word." Devin nodded and said, "You promised loyalty, but you must understand his hurt. We love you too. I betrayed him, and I'm prepared to pay the consequences." Carly's voice broke. "We need to know if we can trust you again." Consequences. From a distance, Kirk stared with tears in his eyes and a deep silence. "I'm pleading for forgiveness." There was a mixed reaction from the family. "Forgiveness takes time," Curtis said, clearing his throat. He put a comforting hand on Kirk's shoulder and said, "Actions speak louder than words." Devin came forward and said, "If you want Kirk to return, no more secrets, you have to prove yourself." Carly nodded, swallowing hard. Viewers halted, rewinding, as a panning camera behind her captured the date invitation that Carly used, a handwritten note with the name Darius. Unbelievable. Why had Carly kept his identity a secret, and who was Darius? Social media erupted in rumors that evening. Who is Darius? What is the name of Carly's mystery man? Is he a corporate tycoon or a musician? According to certain fan stories, Darius' Instagram page was discovered linking. He was introduced to a Daniel Darius who organized nights at underground clubs. Others wrote it off as gossip. The creators of the show hinted at an exclusive disclosure in the upcoming episode, saying that everything will be revealed. The network's marketing team capitalized on the excitement by leaving cryptic hints in posts and comments, which fueled the audience's fervor. Kirk, meanwhile, withdrew to a rooftop balcony with a view of the city. He saw the therapy video again in his head while he was by himself under the stars. "Trust rebuilds slowly," Dr. Nelson said, as he took out his phone and uncovered a blank note. He paused before erasing the message after his fingertips briefly touched the computer, and he typed, "I need space to heal." Instead, his heart heaving with uncertainty, he gazed at the skyline. Speculative enthusiasts watched. If Kirk was preparing to make amends or whether he intended to banish Carly from his life. Back at the flat of her singer-songwriter buddy, Carly turned to music for comfort. She wrote poems about hope and betrayal while her guitar dripped chords. She sung gently, "I'm searching for the calm in the silence after the storm." As she recorded a voice, her vision became blurry due to weeping. Memo: maybe she would use this song as a public concession. She sent the song to producers via email with the message, "Play this during my next statement." Her choice to combine art and confession generated controversy. Was she exposing her soul or managing her image? When Gabby received a private message from an anonymous source saying, "I was the paparazzo who leaked the footage," the plot took a new turn. "I was bribed by Carly to keep silent till the ratings jumped." Since the scandal has gone global, Gabby, the show's insider blogger, challenged the production, asking if Carly had planned this. Although crew members strongly denied it, rumors circulating off-camera suggested a cover-up. Two unidentified producers were seen arguing angrily on tape, with one of them yelling, "We agreed no one orchestrates scandals. We need the numbers." The other retorted, the absurdity of reality TV's genuineness was exposed. As word of these discoveries circulated, people were caught between doubting Carly's intentions and accepting her sincerity. She's playing the victim. No one leaks footage without planning. And did she set Kirk up to look like the villain? Were among the many doubtful comments that filled the comment sections. Even Kirk's. The initial backers wavered. The intricacy of the story increased, turning it from a straightforward tale of treachery into a maze of performance, strategy, and sincere feeling. In the midst of the chaos, the show revealed that a huge ballroom altercation between Carly and Kirk would be shot next. They would meet beneath sparkling chandeliers. Encircled by the cast and supporters who were welcomed as live viewers, the promise: watch the ultimate truth unmasked. The network unveiled teaser images showing Kirk in a sharp suit and Carly in a flowing black gown, with candlelight shining on their features. The contrast between heartbreak and glitz was dramatic. Speculating that this would be the climax of the story, fans marked this date on their calendars. Fans searched for hints in Kirk's final cryptic remark, which he wrote on his story the night before the ballroom event: "Know what you want before you fight for it." Through a fan, Carly gave an anonymous response: "Account, I fight for us." Although mild, the exchange inspired suspicion in some and hope in others. The distinction between private and public life had become permanently hazy. Every action would be scrutinized, analyzed, and profited from. Tensions reached a fever pitch as the sun rose on the day of the ballroom showdown. The hashtag #LahatBallroom became viral on social media. Gossip bloggers set up camp outside the venue, and castmates showed up wearing sequin dresses. Media. The world watched to see if Kirk and Carly would be saved by each other's embrace or if this scene would permanently destroy their relationship. One revelation at a time, the answer was revealed from beneath the drama's many levels. The packed crowd fell silent when the huge ballroom doors opened. The smooth marble floor was softly illuminated by crystal chandeliers, which framed the sea of fitted suits and sequin costumes. With her flowing black robe following her like a shadow, Carly Red came into view. Kirk, flickering candlelight, revealed the figure of Frost waiting at the far end. As though their unsaid words had materialized in the atmosphere, the tension between them was evident. Faces merged into a tapestry of expectation as Carly walked down the aisle. Fans in the crowd gripped their phones, eager to record every second. There were murmurs. Will he pardon her? Is this the time that they get back together? Carly's heart was racing in her chest, and each stride sounded like a drum beat. The sting of Kirk's webcast and recollections of stolen lips on that rooftop lounge lingered at the corners of her consciousness. Kirk's wild, unfathomable gaze greeted hers as she got to him. The whispers ceased to exist. Carly hesitated, reaching up a quivering hand to touch his arm, but stopping just inches short. Throughout the ballroom, actors looked at each other empathetically, not sure whether to jump in or back off. The silence was broken by the host's pre-recorded voiceover, which said, "Tonight, we witnessed the ultimate test of trust and forgiveness." The silence was broken by Carly's voice. "Kirk," she said, her voice scarcely audible at first, "I stand here knowing that I betrayed your confidence. I want to show you who I truly am tonight." Kirk's lips formed a thin line. He stared at her without saying anything. As Carly gulped hard and fought back tears, the crowd held its breath during the uncomfortable moment. Abruptly, a spotlight shifted to a side stage and a towering figure, Darius, came into view. The audience was rocked by his appearance. There were gasps. "Look, there he is. So he's genuine." Carly put her hand to her mouth. Darius took a steady step forward and raised a white rose. In that, the ballroom became a theater of truth in that instant. Every heart was waiting for the truth to be revealed, and every eye was on him. Softly but simply, Darius said, "I never wanted to get in the way of you two." In an earnest tone, he said, "Carly invited me here to help her remember herself, not to betray Kirk." Fans looked at each other. Might this stranger be the secret to peacemaking? Kirk's jaw tightened. A part of him wanted to flatly reject Darius, but another part understood the suffering that made Carly turn to comfort. Carly took out a folded letter from a tiny clutch bag. Her fingers trembled as she gave it to Kirk. "Read this," she said in a whisper. The silence grew as Kirk unfolded the paper. The note's sincere lines read, "Kirk, you are my anchor. In the storm, I couldn't see us. I inquired Darius to make me think of the strong, independent, but always yours me that I used to be. Please pardon me for pursuing such freedom in secret." As he read, Kirk's eyes filled with tears. The crystal chandeliers mirrored the candlelight like falling stars. The crowd changed, feeling a pivotal moment. Kirk's face softened as he glanced up at Carly. He said, "You asked me to trust you." His words hung in the air like a shaky bridge between them. But trust is something we build together, not borrow from someone else. A gentle ballad was started by the musicians as the host announced the start of a live performance. Kirk and Carly made hesitant steps in one other's direction. Their faces flashed with memories of better days. Carly filled the void, her eyes silently streaming down her cheeks. Kirk took her by the hand and wrapped soft arms around her. Fans cheered and chanted their names as the ballroom erupted in cheers. The globes seemed to exhale simultaneously. However, the drama was far from done, even as they embraced. A paparazzo put a flash drive into the host's palm behind the orchestra pit. The host went pale, glancing back and forth between Kirk and Carly. He kept the drive. Gasps in place of applause as the voice trembled, and she said, "This contains exclusive footage, Carly and Darius in a private moment a week before the leak," with some hiding their mouths in amazement and others hurrying to record on their phones. The audience flinched. When Carly understood the ramifications, her arms froze around Kirk. With his palms up in a conciliatory gesture, Darius was surprised. Kirk stepped back and snapped his arms away. The music abruptly stopped. On the concealed screen above, the host hit play. The first raw video frames flashed when the ballroom lights went down. Carly and Darius were seen laughing by the audience. On the rooftop, their silhouettes intertwined tightly. The date that set off the controversy was now clear and unmistakable. Kirk's face twisted once again with treachery as the video continued to play. With tears streaming down her face, Carly's shoulders drooped. The weight of her error was felt by the audience. Somebody yelled, "No way!" Another muttered. The host cleared his throat and said to Kirk, "This is too much. Do you still trust her plea for forgiveness?" Kirk's eyes were burning with pain and confusion as he responded, "I thought she wanted to remember herself, not repeat the betrayal." His voice cracked. Kirk, please, it wasn't what you think. Carly gasped out. It was Darius who persuaded me to speak honestly and to tell the truth. I never meant to hurt anyone, Darius said, stepping forward from the side stage. I didn't know they recorded it. I believed that the way ahead was honesty. I apologize for the aftermath. The mood of the ballroom changed from a courtroom drama to a celebration. The stakes are raised with every syllable. Fans began debating in the gallery of spectators. Give her another chance, shouted some. Others laughed and said, she's fooling us again. Live reactions flashed over social media channels. Live stream discussion by gossip bloggers. This is the scandal inside a scandal. The creators of the show looked at each other anxiously. The plot had gotten out of hand. The ballroom was suddenly darkened by a blackout. The air was filled with murmurs and shouts. Candles died and flickered. Everyone gasped in desperation for a resolution when the screen above abruptly switched to black, revealing a single message in bold text. To be continued. Phones exploded, with thousands of new posts. The hashtag unredeemable. The following chapter would decide whether their tie could withstand the ultimate test. But despite the fallout, one thing was certain. The line between love and betrayal had never been thinner. As the lights gradually come back on, candles rekindle, revealing Carly and Kirk standing next to each other on the dance floor. A collage of their earliest moments is displayed on the flickering screen above. Backstage laughing, sharing looks at rose ceremonies. The gentle kiss beneath the roof's light. The pictures depict the tale of love put to the test by fire. As she moves forward, her dress shimmers and she says softly but steadily, every choice I made led me here, to this moment of truth. Kirk watches her, his chest exploding with emotion. His voice is low as he clears his throat. I've witnessed treachery and pain, but every note you sing and every second you pick us, I've also felt your love. The audience leans in, holding their breath together. As Carly reaches into her clutch and extracts a solitary crimson rose, silence descends. She presses it on Kirk's chest. This rose is for all the times I've forgotten how to tell you the truth. If you'll allow me, let it bloom once more. Kirk gently takes the rose, her fingers grazing it. The outside world dims for a minute. Then, with sparkling eyes, he nods. He whispers, we'll learn to trust again. Carly smiles and lets her tears fall. But promise me no more secrets, only open hearts. I swear, she mumbles. Suddenly, the audience erupts in applause from the side stage. Cast members swarm the dance floor, forming a supportive circle around the newlyweds. As cameras record the reunion, flashes appear. Darius, clutching 2 champagne glasses, emerges from the pile of clothes and sequins. He gives Kirk one. He toasts to new beginnings. After lifting his drink, Kirk looks at Carly. To us. They take a sip, and the champagne in their hands twinkles like stars. Carly and Kirk dance together as the music rises. It's slow and methodical, as though they're learning each other's heartbeat by heart. As a private moment is made public, the audience stands with their phones lowered. With threads of suffering and forgiveness entwined, the drama that threatened to break them has instead brought them closer. Even if you have witnessed their transformation from scandal to redemption, there is still more to come. Will they honor their commitments and mend the damage? Or will there be fresh difficulties right outside the ballroom? Do you think Carly and Kirk will be able to establish enduring trust? Please share your opinions below. If you're cheering for their return, like this video and subscribe for more. Comment with your predictions for their upcoming chapter and receive exclusive information. In this tale of hip-hop and love, your voice counts.